This is how I got closer to my lost cultural heritage. Hi, my name is Jessie Michiko, and I'm the artist behind the Pinot Matcha. A lot of people ask me, what are you? And honestly, that's such a hard question to answer, but I am Japanese, Mexican, and Indigenous from New Mexico. Now, the last one has been quite a bit of a journey to even claim because my family has been forced to assimilate, and just throughout the years it just keeps getting harder and harder to find any solid information as to what tribe we even are.
Emotional damage.
So as a way to reconnect with that side of myself, I decided to take my artistic pottery side and use it to fuel my exploration into Indigenous pottery. So welcome to my channel. For this video, we're going to take a journey together on exploring Indigenous pottery. So this is what I have, and this is what I'll be using. Again, this is beach clay, sourced from the beach here. Now, I have worked with this before in my previous videos, and in my previous video, I actually had to add some additional clay, like dried clay, to kind of harden the texture, but this is pretty good. Plus, I was throwing with it before, and now I'm going to hand build, so I didn't feel like I needed to do that. Oh my god. Okay, so I finished 2 and I had a really hard time. I thought it was going to be a lot easier to kind of make, but it was pretty hard. Usually I don't ever touch coiling things, so coiling is really difficult for me, and it did take a bit to kind of get used to the coiling method, and then I was able to kind of make a shape. I actually have my ceramics class right now, so I'm gonna head over and probably do a larger piece.
3 hours later.
Okay, so I am back from ceramics class, and I decided to hand build right then and there, and my friend that I had a video here with before was really good. They also gave me some pointers, and so I'm thinking of redoing my 2 pots that I already have kind of formed, because I feel like I have a better understanding of how to make it now. Okay, day 2, and we're gonna set up to do a second round of hand building with the beach clay. Hopefully it goes well. Okay, so I finished up 1. It was pretty quick. Pretty sure I can just make another thing, so then I'll have 4. Isn't she lovely? Isn't she wonderful? Pow, 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 pow. Okay, so these are the other 2. This one's like a bowl shape, so I have 2 vases and a bowl, and then the big one is a bowl as well, but I'm gonna redo it. So 2 bowls and 2 vases. I tried to go big again, and use like the technique that I was using on the smaller ones, and it didn't really pan out as well. So it totally collapsed. I don't think it can withstand, the structure cannot keep up if it's a big pot or whatever I make that's really big. So far everything's like fits within the palm of my hand, and I think I'm just going to continue with that size. I do need to make the slip, and then also I do need to really watch the clay as it dries, because there are some that are cracking really badly, and I've actually babysat one of them a lot. I would add in a little bit more clay to add some more structure where it's cracking, and it's doing pretty good. So I think I'm going to hopefully stick with that until it dries completely, and also hopefully the slip that I add will also give it some more structure. So I have some clay that my friend gave me. It is low fire. Let's see, it says I cannot make this out at all, what words these are. But I can see that it says cone 06, so it is low fire. Then she has this other bag, which I'm not sure if it's the same clay. Don't think it's the same clay. I put it in this one. In the clear container is the darker one, and in this white one is the lighter clay. So 1 and 2. I'm starting to realize that I really messed up by not adding a temper to the clay, because that's what kept everything good for the most part when I was throwing. But I figured it would be fine if I'm not throwing it, so I could have added less temper than I did the last time I prepped it, but I added none, so I could see why it's definitely cracking. Again, we'll see, because I've been working very hard, and then all that progress is just gonna go down the drain. So, if I do this again, I might just use store-bought clay. Okay, I finally finished the hand building. I think I like the shape of all the vessels. I like how they came out. They're not perfect, but I actually kind of kept it that way. I tried my best to have it come out how I wanted it, but I did want to leave it still a little imperfect. And I did make one more. I was expecting to just leave with 4, but now I have 5. I feel pretty good about this collection now, and I just have them set to dry so I can add some slip. Pretty sure these are probably the same slip. One thing that was difficult was learning from actual Indigenous Pueblo pottery. There is not a lot of information out there. I feel like if I was if I went to go visit my family in New Mexico, I'm sure I'll be able to find like tons and tons of resources of people, like classes and all sorts of things. But being here in California, it is not easily found. The main people that I actually watch videos are actually white guys that live in the Southwest and really adore like traditional primitive pottery is what they call it. So that's fun. I'm learning from white guys. This project is taking a lot longer than I expected it to. I thought it was going to be pretty quick because when I hand build things, I can pretty much get it done in a day. But because of how finicky the beach clay is, I do have to kind of babysit it. Thanks for my friend. These are the options. We're gonna test it out. I also have like one of these little pebble rocks. We'll try it with this one. And then we'll do it with this one. All right. I tried adding a little bit of water, but if I add water, it kind of breaks down the clay and the structure of it, so it kind of ruins it. So it's just going to be just me doing my normal like burnishing with just the rock. And I had already done one and it came out of the kiln and it looked okay, and I just did it really quickly. I just burnished it once and that was it. And so I'm now testing out different stages of the drying process to kind of make sure that I capture it correctly. And I think it's going pretty well because I'm noticing that it has definitely a much more glassy look to these ones that I'm like kind of babysitting, burnishing along the way, and they look very nice and like glassy, like glaze. I hope it stays that way. I know that if you put it in the kiln, that if you burnish, you want it a low firing. That's why a lot of people do a pit fire for burnishing, because it's a pretty low temperature and it doesn't burn off the burnish and it keeps it that glossy. So I'm hoping that in an electric kiln at the low fire, I'll be at low fire temperature, it will be okay and still come out as glassy as it looks, as it's starting to look as I'm burnishing. So we'll see. I scratched off some of the burnish that is like the raw clay of how it is underneath. And if you feel it, it is a lot more rough. I kept trying to fix it and it just kept getting scratched off even more so. And so I couldn't really technically fix it. So I just ended up leaving it as much as I could. This one's the one that had the most issue right here. I actually kind of looks cool because it looks like leather, but again, this is not going to dry brown, it's going to dry red and white. So I discovered this cool method. Not really a method, it's just something that I want to try, so I'm going to add that in to the series. It's making human hair brushes, but basically I'm just going to make brushes from my own hair. So I saw this Indigenous potter and they were saying that a lot of people like to use yucca brushes, but he mentioned how the yucca brushes weren't his favorite, and so he actually got this technique or method. I don't remember if they were an Indigenous potter, but just from another potter, and they really liked it. So I thought, oh, you know what, I have hair, I have some pretty nice hair. Funny enough, it's on a carousel horse. Basically, I guess I have nice hair for carousel horses, and now we're gonna see if I have nice hair to make some paintbrushes for pottery. So that's what I'm gonna do today. So usually Indigenous Pueblo pottery they're known for their design elements to their ceramics. And a lot of them are geometric designs, so a lot of nature is represented in their design work. And there's different symbols that you'll probably see repetitiveness of. Spirals are a representation of renewal or continuation. And then you have kiva steps, which could represent physical or spiritual path, because kiva is a sacred place that is an underground chamber in the underworld. And so usually you have 3 stairs, because each of the level of the underground chamber has 3 levels. You also see a lot of representation of clouds and rain elements, which like incorporate water serpents, rain parrots, and even like certain lines can represent the rain. Like I mentioned before, the cross hatches are like representation of rain. I'm going to say all this as a preface of that this is just information that I found online. Majority of it is from someone who's not even Indigenous reporting this information. So again, take this with what you will based off of this video. I am in no way, shape, or form an expert. Again, this whole series is to get me reconnected to my Indigenous culture, as it has been lost in my family. So I do not have the knowledge passed down from my ancestors. I don't have a specific connection to what type of Pueblo tribe we derive from. All I know is that a specific area, and in that specific area of where my family is from is like a real big hub of where many different Pueblo tribes could have came from. So there are 19 different Pueblo tribes. I'm not taking inspiration from one specific one. I'm doing almost a modern spin on everything that I find and recreating it to be workable for this series. So I'm not really going out too much to get things on my own. I'm just utilizing what I already have. This was a part of my own way and my own journey of learning these inspirational design elements that I already incorporate in my work, and learning from that and learning the knowledge and the history behind it. So I guess a couple more is that sometimes you see like an orange band around the top. If you see an orange band, it represents the sun. They derive a lot of their design elements from nature, so plants, again, rain, air, earth, fire,
water, earth, fire, air.
Again, you'll start seeing that a lot of these mean rain,
water,
and that's because, well, the Pueblo tribes were in the Southwest where rain wasn't as accessible as it would be maybe on the West or East Coast. And so rain was a huge offering and prayer on the pieces themselves. And also, a lot of the pieces they made were very sacred for sacred use. And so, another way to have attachment by having the sacred element of water. A lot of these design elements are storytelling. And maybe that's why I gravitate towards including it into my own work, is because I'm essentially creating stories in it. In exploring this whole side of my work is become almost a way of learning from that. So this is the final result of each individual piece. I think for next time, if I do this, I'm definitely going to be adding a temper, which is just another piece of dry clay that adds a little more structure, because what you don't see is on the inside of them, there are tons and tons of cracks. And I had hoped at the end of this project that I would be able to give them as a gift to my friends and family, or even possibly sell at the next market that I do. But because there are so many cracks on the inside, I don't feel confident enough to even put them out as gifts. They are just not functional for that much. And in order to know that people are getting value from it, they're just gonna stay here with me. A little sad, but next time I definitely think I will be adding some temper to prevent the cracks, and possibly even go bigger than what I can hold in my hand. So for the main portion of my burnishing, I use these two, and these two are just too small. I noticed that as I was burnishing, my hand was in this shape for hours on end, days on end. Just like the whole time I'm burnishing, I'm just like going like this. So my hand really cramped up. So for next time, a bigger stone, while keeping it still very shiny and polished, is going to help me out in the long term. I think just having a light bulb and then like a bigger rock would help out so much more. And lastly, I think that the clay, the beach clay itself, burnished alone, is what I'll do next time. I do really love the contrast between the white and the red. So the white slip and the red of the beach clay. But I think if you look really closely, the beach clay just really shines. And I think like if I do it next time, it's really going to capture it just so much more. My biggest takeaway in this whole project is that Pueblo potters really do value and give so much appreciation and gratitude to each step along the way. From the very beginning of finding the clay and on their land to the end product and the piece itself, is just holds so much value and appreciation. And I think that I have adopted that so much. I really tried to take that into account as I was doing this whole project, to really give a lot of presence while I was making it. And it's something that I feel I've adopted in other parts of my work. Like on the wheel, for example, I used to listen to podcasts or have some music playing in the background, but now I notice that I don't even do that. That the silence is just so full and filling because I am just present and being so in tune with the clay that I never even notice how silent it is. And to even go even further with that appreciation is I am just so grateful to be able to work with beach clay again. My studio still has some beach clay So if I do this project again, I do have the resources to use beach clay. And it's something that was sourced here on the land that I am in. So again, it's giving so much gratitude and honor to how much the earth can provide for us. After finishing all these pieces, I had something unexpectedly happen. I was able to go back to New Mexico and see my family. I have seen my family in other ways, but I haven't been to New Mexico in over 15 years. It's been a long time. And so having this opportunity to go after literally filming everything and posting about, my journey, it's really full circle to be able to get that opportunity after finishing these pieces. I'm so grateful, and it was such a wonderful time and amazing to see all the Indigenous pottery that is just there and see them in person and be able to have that at the end of this project was just, I couldn't have finished off this project any other way. So if you're interested in joining along, this is just the first part of my series. A next portion, I'll be doing my Japanese culture and tapping into Japanese pottery. If you'd love to stay and join this journey and continue watching me do these projects, feel free to hit that subscribe button and like. And if you've made it this far in the video, why don't you comment down below what your cultural heritage is and something you'd love to explore within that culture. Thank you all, and stay tuned for the next. You made it this far in the video. You made it this far in the video. Thank you, thank you, thank you.